Yeah, there's plenty to look out for this week with the ECB meeting, US and China CPI on for February, the print being some of the headliners for his take on what we can expect in the week ahead. We're joined by Pete McGuire from XM. Pete, great to have you on this Monday morning. What's at the top of your list on the data docket for this week? What's going to drive markets outside what we're seeing from Ukraine?
Good morning, Kara. Good morning, Annette. I just look at the screen here and I notice that Brent's up 7 and WT up 7.5%. So that's in one trading session. So that's really got my focus. Gold up. Have a look at the price of equities, how they've been sold off. Gold sitting at 1966. US dollar index booming to the upside. We've got around about a 98.5 read there. So we're nearly approaching that triple figure. So if I breathe, I inhale. And last week was just electric for traders, and I think this week could be just as electric, if not more so. So, yeah, hold on to your hats, and there's $1 to be made.
Yes, volatility, of course, is the name of the game. I know there's no point dealing in hypotheticals, but excluding the noise, Pete, that was still a pretty good payrolls report, just a little bit overshadowed this time around.
Absolutely, Annette. Friday night surprise to the upside. You got a 678,000 read, so it was very, very strong number. So that in turn, I think, adds a level of confidence out there. You've got hourly earnings up 5.1% year on year, and you've got an unemployment rate running at 3.8%. So the fundamentals are very, very strong, leading into naturally Jerome Powell this month, a 0.25 basis point hike. I think that's just about baked in. The other side is, are we going to, and this is the storyline, you've got increasing inflation numbers everywhere. Are we going to see a stagflation environment come Q3, Q4?
What's happening in the FX markets? The Australian dollar was incredibly resistant last week. I mean, pushing up to that 74 handle. Who would have believed it? You look at something like Euro Aussie. What a trade. Does this continue this week, do you think?
I think the volatility continues, Kara. It's just astounding where you got that Aussie sitting at 73.62. The euro's coming under pressure. We've got that running at 109.24 against the US dollar. So as you mentioned, the crosses are just incredible, and that really gives the depth of these markets. There are so many different crosses. You can really pick or marriage any pair, and there's going to be movement. So when you've got something dynamic like the Aussie, you run it against pound or euro or naturally US dollar, and it's just, again, hold on to the wheel because I'm sure you'll see some movement.
Well, sticking with the euro, we all know Christine Lagarde's been trying to talk it down all year. She got what she wanted, probably not for the right reasons. Will the ECB lay low this time with so much going on?
I wouldn't be surprised. You got, I'm just looking at some notes here, 5.8% CPI, and you've got a revised read coming out, or expected revised forecast for Thursday. So, Annette, this is the issue, I think, that really impacts Eurozone. Are they going to be running at a 6% plus CPI? And then, naturally, with higher energy costs, if they sit around this 120 a barrel, and food costs, have a look at what's happening with corn and wheat and the Ukraine crisis. We don't realise what this impact is going to be as far as production from a food, and Ukraine's such a powerhouse as far as grains. So all of this rolling forward is going to, I think, certainly make it an unsettled scenario for any central banker in a forecast, over the next, again, 6 to 18 weeks. It's going to be, I think, very, very hard to manage all of these expectations.
Are traders still buying gold from what you're seeing from the retail side, Pete?
Absolutely, and you know what they're doing? It's 1966. Not only that, but they're also buying silver at 25.80. So that's had an enormous run to the upside. So both are very strong. Not only are they buying paper, so in the form of derivatives, but they're buying physical. That's what I'm hearing as far as the people in India, the people in the Middle East. The retail sector is really, embracing it because they're just storing it under the bed, so to speak. They think that there's plenty of upside left yet for those, for both precious metals. Have a look at palladium also. Big push up, nickel's up, aluminium at all-time high. The base metals are on fire. So, precious is having an enormous, fun time at the moment. And who would have imagined 1968 plus you've got US dollar index nearly at 100.
Yeah, 1968 is a good year for some, Pete. So in terms of the...
bit before me, Annette.
of course it is. I read it in a textbook somewhere. Now, of course, there's no preordained path for any central bank, but it's pretty clear from Chair Powell that 50's off the agenda, 25 is coming. Between now and next week, what will derail even 25?
What's going to derail it would be that if crude, I think, because of the impact as far as importing oil into the US and the price at the bowser, that would be the major, I think, stumbling block of what impact it has to inflation. If crude was to bounce, I don't know, a 130 or 140 handle due to geopolitical over the next week or two, and I think it's got I'm not saying it can do it, but have a look what it's done in the last session. If it hits those sort of numbers, that would derail. That would cause great concern to Powell and his mob. So I think that's where it's running at the moment. And who's to say we don't know what the future is? That's the beauty of the futures market, because you're speculating on prices and technical analysis and the fundamentals, and they all go into a big melting pot, and that's where buyers and sellers activity.